So I'm director of a cultural center in Kuwait right now, which is the Sheikh Abdullah Al Salem Cultural Center. And the concept of this cultural center is one which combines education and entertainment. The word edutainment I do not use anymore, so therefore it's a real good mixture of education and entertainment with 5 different museums for space, for science and technology, a natural history museum. There is also a museum for Arab Islamic sciences. There's an aquarium, there's a tropical garden. So there's a huge variety of offers which are made for family visitors, but also singles, but especially to educate families and entertain families as well. And this cultural center in Kuwait is a very good example of, I would say, one of those hybrid museum types. Collecting is not the main duty. It's not the main duty, but reaching out to visitors and incentivizing the visitors. This is the main thing, and therefore I love to be active there, and I will be probably for the next time to get a exhibition program together and to set up some summits in order to reach out to the people there. Saying that it is not related to sports, of course, is not true, because everything is related to sports. So we even have an exhibition about body and mind, and the whole topic body and mind is tackled very often in many museums, especially in science museums. And here you go, you're completely into sports. And so we will see. I mean, this part of the world, the Middle East, especially Kuwait, is extremely interesting because those countries are countries in permanent society change. They have very young societies, they have extremely well educated societies, and people who are thinking and acting very globalized. So those are spots in the Middle East, those are spots where you really might be able to find life of the future, how the people interact, how they live together, and in different societies and in different groups. And doing cultural work for these societies is very interesting. I forgot to mention that part of the museum, part of this cultural center, is a fine arts center. And so it's an open fine arts center for modern art. And yes, art is one of the first expression, especially in Middle East. The Middle Eastern art scene is very strong and very creative, and I would say very modern. So it's a challenge on the one side, but on the other side, it's a big chance, to work in such a cultural environment, and and developing a cultural center. That's great. And your last question, because it's this very beautiful question. You would ask a kid, you would ask, what is your preferred profession if you're big, and you were asking for the dream project. My dream project goes very much into this direction, because as I said earlier, for me, sports as cultural expression is extremely important, and many cultures, they literally define themselves through sports. This, of course, in earlier cultures had been much stronger than in our industrialized modern cultures. Sorry, but some of the modern cultures still do that. The US is one very good example about that. I mean, you divide the country in football teams, in American football teams, and you can do that. But I think I mentioned only this example because it's not only about the traditional cultures, the Cherit game played in Turkey, or the Buzkashi played in Afghanistan, or the bungee jumping from Papua New Guinea, whatever. It's not so much about the traditional sports. It's also about the modern tradition or sports of our modern society. What I would love to achieve, perhaps in this life or the next one, who knows, but what I would like to achieve is to set up a traveling exhibit in order to get cultural sports to a broader public and make others understand about the culture of the others. It could be a digital format, it could be a book format. I would prefer an exhibit because this is what gets most visibility. An exhibit which goes from the United States to Turkey to Finland to I don't know, to Central Africa, to the Arab world, to Asia, and makes and excavates, going back to archaeology, excavates the sports traditions and combines it with the traditions, which it could be like a snowball, that the exhibit gets bigger and bigger. But it doesn't have to be an exhibit. I don't have a clear form in mind. But what I love is to really dig out sports as cultural, as part of culture, and make the people understand it. That's the most important. This is something I would love to do, and therefore these examples we were discussing the whole the last time, all these examples we are discussing, they're all part of it. They are. And I don't know, I'm located here in southern Germany, so in Bavaria. And it's of course part of my culture to go skiing. I don't know anybody here in the villages who is not able to ski. It's amazing. I mean, if you tell this story to somebody living in Mali or Mauritania, they won't understand. And vice versa, we won't understand as well. But having digged out those stories and letting the people know about those stories, it might get us a little bit closer. And I would love to see that.